Welcome, everyone, to the Legion Gaming Podcast, Episode 4, Batman the Video Game. I'm your host, Donnie, also known as Don Van Dam, and I'm joined by my co-host, Deucey.
Hello, everyone.
Deucey, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah.
We had a pretty awesome day today. We visited some game shops, got some goodies, recording an episode on one of my favorite games, as we discussed in one of our previous episodes, the top 10 NES games. This was my number 4 on the list, Batman the Video Game. Before we dive into our showcase today, what have you been playing?
Well, continuing my streak of finally finishing games, which is rare for me. I finally beat Dead Island 2 long after you did, but I completely destroyed that game.
Yeah, you did some cleanup. To say
I 100%ed that thing, and I can't remember the last game I did that to.
Yeah, it's I'd like to 100% that game, and I was telling you earlier today actually that I really had rushed to finish that because Final Fantasy 16 was coming out, Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6.
This one,
all these excuses.
Yeah.
So I rushed to finish it. I loved it, but. Yeah, I was surprised when you're like, oh yeah, 100%. It's like, holy crap! Like it's a pretty big game. Like the levels are, they're segmented. It's semi-open world, but each.
That's what helped.
Yeah, that's what helped a lot, and that's what I think made the game last longer for me and not get tired. Was that I wasn't overwhelmed with this giant map with a billion icons. I actually liked the little sectionalized areas of the map.
Even the sections though were pretty good size each. And it looks daunting when you open the map and you're like, oh, I got to go way over there for this one mission part. But then you realize, oh, it's actually only a few steps. Like
you traverse pretty fast because I was the same thing. Like I was looking at this, like, oh god, because there's sometimes before you unlock the waypoints, the fast travel points,
yeah,
where it looks like you're traveling for an hour and a half.
Yeah,
but then
in
you go
in
through,
Skyrim you would,
yeah,
or
Skyrim
in something.
you would, or Breath of the Wild,
yeah,
and Tears of the Kingdom. You would be traveling for an hour.
Yeah, this it's funny because you probably remember when I first started it up. I started it after you. And I had been playing Dead Island 1, and it took a lot of getting used to get the new moves and everything right. And I was like, what is this? Like
fluid movement and
all
those advancements in the last 10, 15 years?
This dodging doesn't work. This doesn't work. And then by the end of it, I was barely touched by anything. I felt like Morpheus in, when he's taunting Neo to come at him. I was just like, come here, zombies, come here.
Yeah, the combat in this was definitely, that's definitely one of the big pieces that kept me hooked in the game, because there's some games where I'll kind of stagger my time and finish it over a long time. Like for me, it's I've been getting back into the System Shock remake, and for me, it's like that game is pretty damn difficult. I actually had to restart the game and turn the combat difficulty to easy, because it's just got too difficult. Like your resources are so scarce. So with that, like there's times where like I'm just creeping through an area and you're going through each floor, and like if I dive too many, like a couple times, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go to something else.
Oh yeah.
Dead Island was such a game where I would sit there, and because the combat was so fun, the story was so goofy and fun, the activities were really interesting. Like they did a phenomenal job with this. So just because of that, like I would sit there for just hours and just go right through, which is why I beat it so fast, because I was trying to, bide my time with it, and then I got to a point where I feel like these side quests weren't unlocking so quickly. Yeah. But you do actually kind of explore more for that, which I thought I was doing.
It's interesting. Like I think I mentioned the last time we talked about it, where you don't unlock all the side missions at once, or even the ability to talk to people. And so there were some times where I would go back and all of a sudden a new thing was available in an area that I hadn't been to in a while. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I can go back and talk to this person.
Yeah, and I kind of appreciate they went that way, because there's a lot of games where I'll just load up on side quests, which is fine, but then there's certain instances where, you get to a point where you have like, 20 side quests in your queue and you have the main quest. And you're kind of like, well, where do I start at this point?
That was me with Oblivion. Oh my god.
Yeah, I would do that with Oblivion, and I did that with Diablo 4, and that game actually caps you at a sort of side quest limit, because it understands that like you probably shouldn't have 50, 60 quests active at once. I don't know what the cap is. It's probably like 15 or 20.
This poor guy wanted you to do something, and you haven't done it in weeks.
Yeah, because you just feel like you want to load up and just get everything done at once, right? So with that, I appreciate they kind of staggered out, because it also meant that, you should be exploring more, and things are kind of... It seemed like they designed this such a way that, everything was sort of unlocked at a certain pace, so you're just not overwhelmed for one, and you also can kind of experience the story and not get too sidetracked, even though the side stuff is really good.
The one thing I thought got a little, not tedious, but like sometimes it was annoying when I was just going back to do the journal collectibles, and you go back to an area like the studios, which was like the third place you opened. And all of a sudden now there are those, what do they call them? The alphas or the advanced or...
They were Apex or Alphas?
Yeah, Apex.
Apex, yeah.
There are now Apex zombies in there that you unlocked in like one of the last places you went to, like the feral beast ones and stuff. And they weren't there at the studios. And you're like, why are they there all of a sudden now? Like, why can't I just go back, blow through all of these really quick so I can get this one little journal thing that I need? Why are they now matching my level?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm always seeing, people are always going to fight online, but I've been seeing also lately with certain games. I forgot what was most recent. Actually, it might have been Diablo 4, where they were talking about level scaling in games, and some people are very much opposed to it, and some people are very much for it, because certain people feel like where if it's not scaled, then you're either one, you're going to try to grind through it, which likely may not work, but it's going to be really difficult if you do make it work, or it's kind of tuned to where you're going to only stay in certain sections because they match your level. Whereas with level scaling, right, you can technically explore whatever you get to, and they'll kind of scale it towards your level, like within a couple levels, if not the same level. And for me, I don't know where I sit in that, because like I think Fallout 3, I forgot which Fallout did it. It has level scaling, but it wasn't all the time.
It wasn't enough.
Yeah, because there were certain parts where I remember, like when I started the game, you're at I think there was a police station in one of the early side quests. And then behind that, there's like all these satellites with the mutants. And they're like...
Oh, yeah. Nope.
Yeah, you're like level... I think I was like level 10, 12, whatever at the time. Maybe not even that. And then these enemies are like 29, 30. Mm-hmm. And they had like these, the mini nukes that are launching from... I couldn't even see where. So for me, when that happens, where it's like, I'm not even trying to harass them, and I'm getting killed from a distance, that's kind of where my problem is with level scaling, where it's like, I'm okay if they're around my level.
That's what I liked. I know people, for some reason, didn't like Fallout 4 as much as 3 and New Vegas, but I really liked 4 because it seemed to scale it to a point where like it kept it difficult in the beginning, and you could still safely explore. You're like, okay, this might be difficult, but I know I can do it. Whereas in 3, you were like, nope, I'm just never going over to that section.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me when people are complaining that games are more accessible, because in my mind, like I get the business sense of it, where if you make a specific game or a genre cater to a veteran crowd, it's hard to expand that, because they're veterans. They're familiar with it. They've played a long time. I'll use Street Fighter 6 as an example, where they've added a ton of accessible features in there to ease new players into it, because understandably, fighting games can be really intimidating on your first start.
Like the Smash Brothers controllers.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, with the modern controls, exactly. Yeah. So with something like, Fallout, like, I never understood why people were so upset about that. Like, it just seemed like it should be accessible. Like, there's a lot of people who may have not been familiar with Fallout, or they might have played Fallout 3 and hated it, because, to be honest with you, like, for Fallout 3, I enjoyed a lot of it, but it got to a point where I got really sick and tired of going in the, the subway trams, like the subway stations that traverse the areas, right? Because, it's a wasteland. It's like, why can't I just climb over this rubble and get to the other side on the road? Why do I have to go these subway trams?
And the subways, they were always like... They were narrow, and they were just choke points for like
with the ghouls,
enemies to kill you.
Yeah. So then so going back to the whole accessibility thing, like it's always really that people are upset that they change things that help people to get into the game. And there's not all the feedback is always terrible. Like I can understand that how they were upset about the dialogue options in Fallout 4, because they were garbage. They were kind of arbitrary.
Yeah.
There's a few options, they really didn't change anything. So I can understand that, but that's also like a design choice they made, maybe because they want it simplified.
But what I liked about that was that Fallout 3 has the dialogue options that are locked behind your level. Like,
yes, and I wish they had that in 4.
But I also didn't wish they had that in 4, because I'm glad they didn't really have it, because like I felt like I was missing a lot of the game because I wasn't bothering to level up that, and I didn't want to. But it would also help me, and I don't want to like go level grind just to update my speech specifically.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is I think we were talking about, or maybe it was something I'd read online too about people. Baldur's Gate 3 has a respec option, which respec is pretty common in a lot of RPGs. Some don't, but I wish games like Fallout would have that, where if you do want to explore other dialogue options. Granted, it didn't matter in 4, but it probably matters more for like New Vegas and the older ones, where if you wanted to, if you had to build, you wouldn't have to restart your character. You just respec.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of debate about that where people are like, no, you shouldn't be able to respec. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
It's a single player game. If I don't want to restart 10, 15 hours of a game, why
Yeah.
should I not be allowed to respec and, maybe explore a dialogue option that I couldn't before?
And I mean, just do like Cyberpunk and write it into the story where, these are all like mods on your body. And if you want to readjust your mods, obviously you should be able to. That's the futuristic thing to do.
Yeah. I'm going to be curious how, because Starfield's coming out in a couple months. It's coming out in September. We're in July right now as of this recording. So I'm curious how that's, for one, just going to, to pan out to begin with on release. But I'm curious how the dialogue options are going to be in there. Like if it's going to be more, it seems like they're going more towards like the traditional, like New Vegas early Fallout games. But I don't know how in-depth it is.
I just want it to be not such a harsh level to reach. Like I feel like Outer Worlds had that with the new dialogue options based on your levels and things, but it wasn't like you have to be level 35 when you're only in the second area. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's there are certain instances I would run into that too. I'm like, I don't understand what I'm missing here. Like,
how could I be this high of a level already?
It's like a couple hours in the game here. What do I have to come back? At hour 25 or something?
Yeah. Like, if you're gonna level scale the enemies, level scale the things that your abilities can do too.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing it might have been Fallout 3 and definitely Oblivion, where like lock picking, like you're early on in the game and you have to be a master lock picker. How?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I'm sure I would think that people know how to manipulate their builds. Where I think it's called min-maxing, where you minimize certain stats and maximize the other ones. Where someone like I have a coworker who does play like a full stealth build in Skyrim, where he just maxes all his points in the melee and stealth, and I guess he just sneaks up on people and knocking them out and killing them or something like that. So there's people who do that, but it does seem like where you really have to lean into certain stats specifically to for certain options, which is kind of dumb. Like, I don't want to be that much into a certain stat. That's a lot of points you're not giving anything else.
I feel like I did learn that more with Skyrim and Fallout 4, but also because it was more forgiving. And I mean, that's good. I feel like they're teaching you that, and then you can go back to the older games and go, oh, now I know, now I understand. Like, I don't need to be a little bit good at everything. I should just focus on what I want to play as.
Yeah, and that's why I say respecs are good, because if I feel like I've made a bad build, then I can spec all in melee or something or whatever else to make it make sense. Yeah, we went off on a hell of a tangent there from Deadland 2 to dialogue options there.
And you haven't even said what you've been playing.
Oh yeah, okay, well a little bit. So I restarted the System Shock remake, which I've been really, really enjoying, and I didn't have much experience with System Shock before this. I had played the enhanced edition for 2 a little bit when I built my PC like 5 years ago, but it's obviously very hard to get into because System Shock 2 was 1996. System Shock 1 was 1994, which is always shocking to me because I don't realize how old that game is.
Yeah.
And the remake it's really good. It's by Night Dive Studios. They've done basically like my favorite remasters for the last like 4 or 5 years. They've done the Doom 64 remaster where you and I can actually see it versus, when we were like 11, 12 years old on both CRTs with brightness cranked, not seeing a goddamn thing in that game.
And I'm glad to learn this. It wasn't just us back then. Everybody said that.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck?
And then I would look and then, so I would read magazine ads or actually magazine reviews, or I would go through them now, right? I'm like, all the screens are bright. I'm like, what were they playing? Like, what version were these previews playing? Because those are brightened up. You can see enemies.
Special builds just for visibility.
Yeah. So Night Dive's done Doom 64. They've done Shadow Man Remaster. They've done.
Did they do Turok?
Yes, they did Turok. They'd remastered Turok 1 and 2. Yeah. They've done a lot of phenomenal remasters, and this one is probably their most ambitious one because it's like a full remake from the ground up versus taking what they've done previously. From what I understand, is they'll take the source code of whatever game they're remastering, and then they have an engine they built. I think it's called Connects or something like that, or Kicks. And then with that, it's whatever engine they've built, it allows them to like upscale and has all these tools where they can they can modernize the games. But System Shock is remade from the ground up, and this game was developed by a lot of people who made BioShock. I think there's like Ken Levine.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it was the spiritual BioShock was
predecessor.
the
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, the point I was trying to get to, I lost my train of thought. There was like who else was involved with it, but yeah, it's Ken Levine, and then his whole team made this. But you could clearly see BioShock's or the influence of System Shock in BioShock when you play System Shock, down to like the audio recordings, all the little items you could pick up. There's emails. Like the world is just like the whole idea for System Shock, by the way, just to give some background, is you're this hacker who's basically been busted by this company called Optima, I think they're called, and they see you hacking into their network, and then they basically arrest you at your house and say, well, if you go on our space station, the Citadel, we have a rogue AI who's taken over named Shodan, and we want you to, basically.
We just have that hit there.
Yeah, we have that there. We want you to subdue her or, get rid of her, because what Shodan is doing is she's become self-aware, and she's taking over the Citadel station, and she's experimenting on all the humans in there. So when you're, the deal is if you help this company get rid of Shodan and, save Citadel and basically the Earth, then you'll get these, prime, like, cyberpunk, what do you call them? Implants.
Enhancements,
enhancements. And you probably won't go to jail. So anyway, you're on the Citadel station, and
probably,
then,
maybe,
yeah, probably. You're trusting a billionaire, whatever this is.
Yeah.
You know how that can go. So then the whole premise of the game is you're on the space station, you're exploring to see what happened to the crew. It's very much like Aliens. There's bits of lore everywhere. The atmosphere is just thick with like with what the hell happened here. Where is everyone gone? The enemies are basically mutant experiments done by Shodan, because the whole thing is like she's developed this virus. A literal virus, and she's contaminated the entire Citadel station, and her whole intent is to destroy the Earth, is to purify the Earth. She wants to become a god and refer herself to as God. So it's a great story. Like it hooks you right away. I'm only a few hours in because I had to restart the whole game because it just got too damn difficult. And it's one of those games where I tend to like some difficult games, but when there's a story here that I'm really interested in, I just want to get through the story, right? I wanted to tune the difficulty down, at least for the combat, because it's really difficult. Just like the enemies take a lot of damage. The collision detection isn't great. Like sometimes just you get hit when you're trying to hit someone else, and you have little resources. But you couldn't lower the difficulty because the items are generated when you start a new game on the difficulty you're on, because there's different toggles on there.
Oh.
So I just had to restart the whole game.
Jesus.
Which is fine. Like I caught up to where I was in about a quarter of the time because I was very familiar with it.
Yeah.
But now I'm stuck again.
I do like games, and Dead Island 2 did this, and I really liked BioShock for this, where you don't have too many cutscenes or like things that take you out of the action. All of the lore and all of the story is what you find and what you explore for. And
that's why I love these type of games, because they're immersive sims is what they call them. And that's exactly why I love them, because or why I love them is because they really are putting the story like right in front of you. Like it's not so much I mean that they do that with cutscenes, but it's more for you to explore at your own pace, like,
and if you want to or not.
Yeah, because that there's all these emails and like audio clips and like these little monitors and stuff that kind of tell you what happened. And you're naturally going to be interested in that stuff. And if you're not, go ahead and move on. But the other caveat here too is that this game doesn't, unless you play on the really low difficulty for I think it's the exploration or puzzle, it won't tell you where to go. So you're totally reliant on reading those emails, looking at the lore, or reading like whatever files you find, and then the audio clips where they say like, oh, there's something going on in research. I don't know why Shodan did this. You have to go get the X-22 isotope and collect that and use it here. So you really have to pay attention to the world it's building while you're playing it to progress into the game, which if you're not careful, like you can get lost real easy, because it's like you have to go through, your media, like what do I have that might tell me where to go or where things are, I
liked in Dead Island 2 where they had that in some certain things, and they would at least highlight the words. Because other games have done that, like you said, where they just are talking like nonchalantly and they totally told you where to go, but you did not pick up on that.
Yeah, there was that game I told you about I think it was like a year ago. It's called Narco, that sort of point and click adventure game that's like this it's like a noir dystopic future apocalyptic game. It's really good. It's like 6 or 7 hours, but anyway, the one thing I appreciate about that is like it's a heavily text-based game, right? You're just pointing, clicking, and traversing that way. But it is the same thing where it kind of highlights certain things you should keep an eye out for, as far as like where to go or what your next step should be. And I thought that's a great way to do that, because when I think of point and click games, I always think of how obtuse they are.
Oh yeah,
right. Like Day of the Tentacle and some of those adventure games. It's like
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. They'll tell you, you eventually figure out things by trial and error, but a lot of them don't make sense.
Yeah.
Like in Day of the Tentacle, there was something I forgot what it was you had to collect, but you had to get like, you had to put a toaster in like this ice box and it would pop something out. I'm like,
Oh, naturally.
yeah, I'm like, why would that make sense?
I'm always putting toasters in ice boxes.
Yeah, like it was something dumb and obscure like that, you know? But yeah, so I've been playing a lot of the System Shock. I'm trying to get through that because the story is really fantastic. I was playing Street Fighter 6, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And I started Guacamelee last night, which it's a Metroidvania with starring a luchador. So it's right up my alley.
You know, I've always seen advertisements for that, and I didn't realize it was a Metroidvania.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's I played it on PS4 like, I don't know, 7
I thought it was kind of a brawler.
It kind of is because the combat's really good. Like you have your melee attacks, and you could also grab enemies, and you unlock abilities. Like you could powerbomb people, power drive them, throw them in different directions. It's
Suplex
actually,
City.
Yeah, it really is. It's actually 4-player co-op too, believe it or not. Like they add that after the fact. Yeah. So I just was on my Steam Deck the other night. And I was like, oh, Guacamelee. I haven't played that in a long time, and it's right up my alley. I've been watching more Metroidvania videos, and I forgot I was playing recently. So I was getting back into that, and it's really freaking fun. Like it looks gorgeous on the Steam Deck. It's a gorgeous game to begin with.
Is it on Game Pass, or was it?
It might be. If it's not, it goes dirt cheap all the time because there's two of them. I wanted to actually play through both. There's Guacamelee, and then they did the whole funny Capcom joke where it's like Super Ultra something Lucha Edition or something like that. Because it's based like a Game of the Year version where they've put all their updates and whatever they've added over the years. And then there's
Super Ultra Turbo.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And then there's the second game which I haven't played at all, and I really like to play through them because I've heard they're great games. It's just it's one of those things where this was, I don't know how long ago it was released on PS Plus, but I'd gotten into it a little bit, played a few hours, and just like anything else, I got distracted. So now it's like it's great because it's on the deck. I think it's on Switch as well if you want to get it there. But
yeah, I think I saw. That's where I might have first seen it.
Probably. I think there's a combo pack on there as well. But yeah, it's been fucking fantastic. I've been really liking that game. So our main event here, the reason why we're here today is a 1990 release.
Oh, the movie was 89.
The movie was 89. It was also December 1989 in Japan, February 1990 in North America, and September 1990 in Europe. It's Batman the video game for Nintendo.
Nice.
So this game, I remember buying this game at Video Express, which I say that a lot on this podcast because a lot of my early games for Nintendo, like once we get to like later games, it's not going to be Video Express. Video Express eventually shut down. But I vividly remember buying this there, and ironically, this is also, it wasn't probably this instance, this visit, but this is where I first saw Street Fighter 2, like the first advertisement. They had like this cardboard poster cutout thing.
Oh.
I didn't know what it was at the time because I have a Super Nintendo.
And I'm assuming the picture was like Blanca rushing at Ryu or Ken?
It was the box art. It was Blanca with Ryu on the ground, and then Chun-Li with her leg like kicking him mid motion. Yeah. So anyway, like we
you still have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. I just remember Blanca more than anything else. Like I remember seeing that face. Yeah. But anyway, we bought Batman the video game there because I was a huge Batman fan. I don't know what year we got this because my brother was born in '89 and he was basically a huge Batman fan out of the womb, it seemed like. And so we got this. I remember playing it with him a lot, and this was made by Sunsoft, who made a lot of our favorites like Fester's Quest and Bomberman. Oh yeah, Blaster Master. They weren't quite Capcom level in my eyes back then, but they were pretty damn close as far as music, quality of the game, and everything. And this one, it was pretty interesting too because when for a Batman licensed game, like we had Predator at the time, there was Total Recall, there's a lot of movie based games, and the ones I had played back then were usually pretty terrible. Oh yeah. And this was the first one that I think was truly great, and it's interesting because this is a very early one. It's 1989. Well, 1990 for us, I should say. Yeah. Batman movie was released in 1989, which. That movie was freaking huge. Like the summer of '89 is often regarded as like one of the best, blockbuster summers as far as movie theaters go. And Batmania was like in full effect at that time. So it made sense that they made a game out of it, and it was interesting because I read that it was an interview with Richard Robbins. He was the son of Joe Robbins, and they owned they owned a company called Kit Corp, which was eventually bought out by Sun Electronics, which eventually became Sunsoft of America.
Whoa.
So yeah, they went through the whole acquisition, transition, all that stuff, and eventually became a games publisher and developer. So it's funny because my thing was like, how did licensed games work back then, especially for movies? Because it's not like now where it's like this big whole thing where it's like with Disney or something or Hogwarts where it's like there's a lot of lawyers involved, there's a lot of legalities, there's a lot of restrictions. With this, it just turns out that the Robins knew an executive at Warner Brothers, and he was basically their hookup for the license. So they were lucky enough that they had a hookup at Warner Brothers. They were actually able to fly into London to go check out the Batman set before the movie was made and everything. So they got to see everything kind of before it unfolded. And then he was talking in the interview how it was only after the movie released and they secured license that he realized how freaking huge Batman was at that time. So for him, that already informed that this game was, from what had to be successful, because just off the hype of the movie, it was going to carry into the game.
It's interesting thinking back because I was 4 when that came out, but I was like a very young 4 at that point, and I wasn't paying attention to that, but I knew Batman was a superhero, and to me that was always how Batman was. And the reason it was so big, like you said, Batmania, was because up until that point it was the Adam West Batman.
It was, exactly.
And now all of a sudden he was this dark and brooding type, and you're like, oh wow, this is
polar opposite
new.
From what was in the 60s, and and even I don't even think the comics even reached that level of dark quite yet.
I think this started leading the comics to making him darker too.
Yeah. So yeah, Batmania was all over the country. It was in McDonald's. Like we always pass around those those pictures of like promo fries and all that stuff, which is really crazy. And this game, it loosely followed the plot of the movie.
Oh yeah,
right.
Loosely.
So yeah, very loosely. Like it kind of has the same beats in a sense. Like you're still out to get the Joker and whatnot, and then they have a lot of bosses that weren't in the movie at all. So this was released in around February, March 1990, and then some other games that came out around this time. I didn't realize this until I was looking this up, but a Monolith, a gigantic game released just around the same time as this, Super Mario Brothers 3. So
damn.
So this was, let's see, it was actually one day away. So it looks like from what I found, Mario Brothers 3 was February 12th, 90. Batman was February 13th, 90. So
what? Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts because Mario Bros. 3 already had the hype train moving with the wizard and the magazines and everything else,
and the commercial,
and then you have Batman on basically the exact same day. And then in addition to that, there was Super Spike Volleyball. There's a game called Rollerball, and that was really it for that kind of like February March time frame, because it's probably Super Mario Bros. 3. No one really wanted to compete with it. Maybe Batman, they figured it could have. It was a big enough license, yeah. And then releases after March were games like Adventures of Lolo 2, which I know is one of your favorites.
Oh yeah.
Alan Sir Jr.'s Turbo Racing, which I have. It's kind of a cool game. Astyanax, I always hate how to pronounce that game. I'm not sure. And then Kid Cool and the Quest for 7 Wonder Herbs. Didn't know that was the whole title of that game. I heard that game.
I've heard of Kid Cool.
Yeah, and
vaguely.
Then topping off that month was Wheel of Fortune Family Edition.
I think I just saw that at the shop we were at today.
We did. That's actually when I went there earlier in the week. I saw it there and I thought about that. I was like, I kind of know when that came out. As far as reviews on this, there weren't really any reviews that I could find. Because what I typically do when I pull these is I go for like the bigger magazines, the 3 big ones, which is EGM, GamePro, and Nintendo Power.
It's funny, I didn't even realize EGM was around back then.
It's hard to realize. Yeah, it's hard.
I knew of GamePro and Nintendo Power.
Yeah, it's really weird to think that they all kind of started around the same time, which is like 88, 89-ish, somewhere around there. But again, like by the time I was old enough to really get in the magazine and appreciate them, like Nintendo Power was in full force, GamePro was in full force. Like as far as I know, they started in 1990.
Yeah,
because that's really probably when I first started to.
That's about when my first Nintendo Power was the Mario 3 strategy guide.
Yeah, see,
yeah, and that was already like 13 issues in.
Yeah. So despite no reviews, there was a lot of coverage on it. Like GamePro had, they only had ads. They weren't even using a scoring system at this time, which I thought was interesting, which I didn't realize. It was
thumbs
just like,
up or thumbs down.
No, it wasn't. It was just a full-on text review. It was just
read
through it. Yeah, there was no scoring system whatsoever.
Try to guess by our tone.
Yeah.
How we liked it.
EGM only had a preview in issue 6, January 1990. So you figure 6 months. Yeah, it's like 89 is when EGM first started start publishing.
I feel like of all these games, the ones that released and everything, Batman could easily get away with this because they're just like, hey, it's Batman.
Yeah. And there's let's see, Nintendo Power. They did a cover story that was a 5-page feature that had a guide up to level 3-3.
I didn't have that issue, but didn't it have Joker on the cover?
It did. It's a really awesome cover.
Yeah.
It's just him out with his suits, and it's like, it looks really white. I forgot if he's like in smoke or I don't know what he's in, but
yeah,
it's definitely a noticeable cover. Like you'll recognize it the second you look at it. So this game, it's generally regarded as one of the more difficult NES games.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 5 levels in it. Each one has 2 or 3 sections in there. Actually, let me back up a little bit, because this game has quite a fun bit of history as far as like the different versions that exist. So there's a Game Boy version that came out in 1990. It's actually really close to the NES version. It has less boss fights but more levels. Like you actually pilot the Batwing, which is surprising.
Awesome.
And oddly enough, Batman attacks with a gun.
Yes, the era where Batman used a gun everywhere.
I'm not sure what bizarro universe this was, that Batman had a gun to shoot enemies.
Maybe he was using rubber pellets.
I guess it's possible. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Non-lethal.
To justify that way. Yeah. And then there was a Genesis version that came out in '92, and this was interesting. Is that I don't really think of exclusives or contracts, previous to maybe PS1, PS2 era generally, or N64 era maybe. Actually, maybe in 16-bit era, but I guess Sunsoft had an exclusive contract with Nintendo. They only developed games for Nintendo up until 1991.
Oh, yeah.
So when that expired, they actually decided to make a Genesis version. And it was built from the ground up as far as I could tell. And the gameplay is really different. The characters and level design is kind of similar, but they're pretty damn different. Like, there's 6 levels instead of 5, and they also include a Batwing and a Batmobile stage. And then the Genesis version actually sticks closer to the plot of the movie.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
But it's actually, I don't think this version is as good because, for one, it has limited continues.
Oh.
You only have the battering as a gadget and a bat rope. And, most people...
Does he wall jump still?
I don't think he does. I don't believe so.
Oh, wow.
Not that I can remember. It looks really good, but it's just... For me, it could be because I had more fondness for the NES version. Yeah. It just wasn't as good. Like, it's generally regarded as like a really good, it's a really solid Batman game. It's just really short. And then the most interesting thing is they had a TurboGrafx 16 version, and I shouldn't say that. It's a PC Engine version because it's only released in Japan. So, Sunsoft, as I said, they created Bomberman. So you would never believe that this Batman game has that same isometric perspective as Bomberman, where it's like that sort of like 3/4 angle view over Batman. But in this,
is it still in like a weird grid mode too? Like
pretty much,
Bomberman?
Like it looks like I put a screenshot on here. Like you can't see it in audio land there.
Yeah.
But
wow,
it looks like a Bomberman level with Batman in it. And this game's kind of dumb because it's just like an action puzzler game. Like you just go through, you have to collect certain items, certain pieces of evidence to progress and finish the level. Oh. And then you can't really. You don't really have any gadgets. Like you just shoot enemies who awkwardly kind of hobble towards you.
Wait, shoot! Is he still using a gun?
He's got like a pellet gun or something. Okay. I think this might be rubber bullets actually.
Here's my bat bullet.
And then it was funny because I was reading about this game, and like the more I read about it, the more ridiculous it sounded, because there's one level where you're in the museum.
Oh yeah.
And Joker's villains have vandalized the paintings.
Well, that's a scene in the movie, at least.
It is, but I don't remember the scene in the movie where Batman had to clean the paintings.
Well, he's like, I've actually invested in some of this art. I better clean this up.
You pick up, I don't know if it's like a cleaning solution or like cleaning supplies, and you have to go clean this is Batman. This is Batman in like 1991, 1992 on the PC Engine / TurboGrafx 16, and you're playing as Batman cleaning up paintings.
He's finally taking responsibility for being the reason Joker is there. He's like, I gotta clean up after this guy.
It's just funny to think, like, they're trying to vary the gameplay because ultimately, you like any game, like you can have to vary things up. And this, you're just collecting evidence, you're collecting crap to get to the end of the level. Like, well, Wolf Yellow, where he just, cleans up painting that they vandalized. And then he goes after the thug. All right. It's cool.
That Batman's a stand-up guy.
Yeah. So that was a really fun discovery when I was going through this. I was like, oh my God, TurboGrafx. Because it looks pretty good. The music is awkwardly upbeat. Like, when you play the Batman NES, for one, the Batman NES game has phenomenal music, which we'll get into a little bit soon too. But this music, like in contrast to that, just feels like it feels like it should be in a Bomberman game. Like it's just really upbeat. It doesn't fit with even just the look of Batman. Like Batman still has his iconic look from the movie where he's got the black bat suit with the yellow symbol. And everything else is brightened up around him. there's nothing dark about it. Nothing Gotham.
He is not hiding in that one.
Yeah. So those are some fun versions I didn't know. That was the fun version I didn't know existed. I had experience with the Genesis one, and I played the Game Boy one before. I don't remember where. It's probably an emulator or something like that, because I don't think anyone I knew owned it. I can't remember if we did.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. I remember the cartridge, which I don't know where the hell I remember that from. But anyway, it was a fun version that I can remember, but the most fun that I have is with the Nintendo version.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it has 5 levels. Some levels have 3 sections, some have 2. And in general, it's more or less you're progressing from one side of the level to the other. There's enemies that, are kind of preventing you from getting closer to the bosses in there.
Yeah.
You have 3 different gadgets in here, so you can collect. You have like this. You have the boomerang, or the batarang, I should say. It looks like a boomerang. Where you can throw it forward. It comes back to you. It uses 1 ammo, because you can collect ammo and have up to 99. It uses 1 ammo for every time it hits, because it's like a boomerang. So every time you don't hit, it doesn't waste the ammo.
Oh.
The second weapon is like this sort of dart gun thing. They call it the Bat Spear Gun, but it looks like a rocket gun.
Yeah.
Like a mini rocket gun.
Yeah.
And then they have the Bat Disc, which is it's a single blade that shoots out and it splits into 3. Really great for taking out enemies that are well above you or under you, or hitting them multiple at once.
Yeah.
And there's also pickups. There's like a B icon that's really just points. There's a health pickup, but my God, are they stingy with the health pickups in this game.
It's funny because I was playing it recently, and like right off the bat, the first or second enemy I killed was a heart already. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this will be fine. I don't even need it, but this will be fine. And then later on, I'm like, okay, I could use a second one.
Yeah, they get real stingy real fast. And even when you're kind of farming, because there's a lot of areas where you can kind of go back and forth between the screens, or just kind of sort of respawn enemies. Mm-hmm. And even with farming and just sitting there, it mostly drops ammo and the B icon, which is just for points.
Yeah,
you barely get anything else, which really sucks. Batman does have a really awesome wall jump in this game. It's kind of similar to Ninja Gaiden, except in Ninja Gaiden where Ryu hangs on the wall, Batman can literally bounce off of it, like he can kind of rebound off of it. And then something that I wish I learned when I was a kid is that he has 2 different jump types. So if you just tap B, it's like a quick hop, and then if you hold B, it's like a longer jump. And what I noticed is a lot of the game's jumps are designed with that, where they're kind of measured in that short hop versus long jump, kind of spacing, which is fine in the earlier levels, but by level 5, it gets really difficult. So in this game, I didn't realize this, but there's a lot of DC villains beyond the bosses, but I don't recognize them because they're tiny NES sprites.
Yeah.
So there's Deadshot. Couldn't tell you who that was.
I was about to. Is it that the guy with the? No, it can't be. The one guy with the pistol that shoots you every once in a while.
I don't know, because I can't imagine, because none of these are bosses either. Because there's also separate bosses. There's Heatwave, which I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure who that enemy is or that villain is. KG Beast, which I'm assuming is some sort of Russian villain. And there's a few other villains, and then so within the 5 levels, there's 5 distinct levels in this game. One thing I will say about this game is that it really does nail the theme of the movie as far as the look and feel. They use I don't think they use Danny Elfman's theme though. Actually,
no,
everything's original here, which you could say is unfortunate. But the music is so damn good in this game that it'd be hard pressed to really miss the Danny Elfman version. And also with this soundtrack, like the reason it's so goddamn good is because it's composed by Naoki Kodaka, who also did Fester's Quest.
Yeah.
Again, I've repeated that like 5 times today. It's great. Spy Hunter, Batman: Return of the Joker, and a bunch more games. They did the soundtrack for both the Genesis and NES versions, which kind of surprised me because the Genesis version, it doesn't sound bad, but I don't think it's nearly as melodic or as iconic as the NES version.
But that might be more because it's on the Genesis rather than...
It totally could be.
Yeah.
And then also, they had a prototype version of this game that had entirely different cutscenes that were based on the Killing Joke graphic novel, which is really cool to find out. I didn't know
that was that old.
I didn't know that either. I guess it must have, because again, like from my frame of reference, I read that when I got older. So
that's weird because that's when Barbara becomes Oracle, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought, I mean, I'm used to the animated series coming out a couple years after this, and then she was still Batgirl in that.
Yeah. So that prototype version was more closely related to the Killing Joke graphic novel. Firebug, he's the second to last boss in the final release version, but he was actually the final boss in the prototype version. And Batman just he captures and defeats Joker in a cutscene, which is pretty anticlimactic. That
is that before or after Firebug?
After Firebug. So you
weird.
beat Firebug, and then in a cutscene you apprehend Joker, which is a really bizarre choice. So I'm glad that they, maybe they I don't know, whatever the case was, but they decided to go.
Now, so because you said the guy knew the guy at WB and got the rights, were they originally? I mean, the movie was already announced. Why did they think about the Killing Joke first?
My guess is maybe they didn't have all this, what they needed for the story, or the details for the movie yet, because they also probably kept that kind of hush hush at the time.
Yeah.
So it's possible that
they didn't have the Batmobile yet.
So my thinking is like maybe they only had Killing Joke as a reference, and that also may explain why some of the events in the game don't make sense or don't jive with the movies, because they're kind of developing this as the movie's being made, edited, finished, and eventually released.
Yeah.
Because the movie came out in 89, like June, July 89. This came out later in 89 in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So this game probably been, I think, if I recall correctly, they said it took them like 10 months to develop, I think. I might be wrong. Again, like the movie, I don't know how long it took to shoot, but you can only work so much with the movie and implement it into the game.
Yeah, they would have been editing the movie about the same time this was being developed.
Exactly. So I think that's the thing, is like they probably got a better idea, more details about the movie, and trying to integrate them best they could, and then added Joker as last boss fight, which I would say is great that they did, but playing against
him,
yeah, maybe a different story. Yes. So the 5 levels in the game, you start off in Gotham City. The boss there is Killer Moth. He's got a jetpack, and so I will say, like, one thing that this game is really great at are the boss fights. Like, they're pretty inventive and they're pretty different, from level to level. Different levels of difficulty as well.
Yeah, it ramps up pretty quick.
Yeah, so the first boss is Killer Moth. He's got a jetpack on him, and what he does is he kind of hovers at each corner of the level, and he swoops in. And he also has an attack where he shoots these sort of 3 fireball things at Batman, and the whole thing is like, as he swoops in, you're supposed to attack him. The second level is the Axis Chemical Factory. This is basically where Joker kind of becomes the Joker, in a way, story-wise, even though it's not really mentioned in the game necessarily. The boss here, as you found out the hard way, Ducey, was the Machine Intelligence System, which is this ugly, annoying as hell boss it's a wall boss. So there's 3 weak points.
It reminded me of the boss in Mega Man 2.
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah.
You have to use the crash bombs to beat.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it reminded of. And was Mega Man 2 out before this, actually?
Yeah, that was a couple years before.
Okay, so they totally could have ripped off the idea of that boss and did it here, which this one might be a little bit easier until you have to fight the last form, which is like this pulsing blue eye on the far side of the wall. But he shoots these orbs, he shoots 3 bullets that go in 3 different directions.
A spread shot.
And a spread shot. Very much like Contra, actually. That's a great analogy. And it's just annoying as hell to fight. And then the next level is the underground conduit. I don't know why it's called that.
So a sewer?
Yeah, it's basically a sewer. I know they're annoying sewer. The boss there is Electrocutioner. He looks like Wolverine because he's got like this really cool, like almost like a Vega Claw. And he's annoying as hell because there's these 2 platforms in the middle of the stage you kind of have to hop between, and he has a giant hop where his jump arc will hit you if you're in the way, but you can only hit him when he's hopping because if you're on the ground, he'll hit you. If he doesn't slash you, he'll hit you in some ways. It's cheap. Next level is the Lab Ruins, and this boss is kind of dumb. It's the dual containment alarm.
Wait, what?
Yes. So there are these 2 moving boxes, and again, so this level.
Oh, I have seen this.
You've probably seen this in a speedrun or something. Yeah. And what this boss is, you're in a room, and then there's these pillars in the middle of the level that you can use your wall jump against. and there's these two boxes that just can run into you and push you or damage you. So they're constantly rotating opposite each other, and you can damage them with projectiles. You can kind of cheese them with the punch, which I think does the most damage from what I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an only boss fight because you're constantly hopping around. Like you have to be really good at platforming and like dodging bullets, because as they're rotating across the borders of the level, they're shooting projectiles inward. I didn't think the boss was that bad. It was fine once you kind of cheese it. And then the final level, and by far the most annoying, and I think this is where the reputation this game has for being a really difficult NES game comes to light, is the Cathedral, where the level, it trolls you in the beginning because the first screen you have, you start at the starting point, and then immediately to your right, it just says exit. And you're like, oh, well, maybe I could hop over there, right? Like maybe it's just straight over through. You're going to the tower. No. This game has like this level has the most insane long traversal under and around all the way through to get to the exit. And for me, like, I thought the game was pretty fair up until this point, because those first 4 levels, they could get pretty difficult, but once you learn them, as far as like the platforming and jumping, and you can kind of cheese the bosses. Additionally, like, this game has infinite continues, and you can save your ammo between them. So when you lose all your lives, you start at the next, you start at the beginning of the section. So if you lost all your lives in 5-2, you're going to start back at the beginning of 5-2.
Yep.
Fine, I should say fine for every level up until stage 5, because stage 5 has 3 sections. 5-1 isn't so bad. 5-2 has this insanely long vertical shafts that you have to jump up. And this section will test everything you've learned as far as jumping in this game, because it's vertical, and I swear to God, what they did was each section where you have to jump, you kind of have to drop down and then wall jump against the platform you're standing on and lightly hop onto the next square.
Ugh.
The problem is that it's the space you have to jump into is almost the exact size as Batman's sprite. And I'm talking like there's maybe a cushion of 2 to 3 pixels on each, top and bottom. So your jump has to be precise. And the problem is that you have limited health. There's enemies on some of these boxes as you're going up the shaft, so you have to watch them. Additionally, there's gears in between these jumps that damage you.
Yeah.
So if you aren't spot on with your jump, I sent you guys a video of this yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you got to see that.
Yeah.
Where I showed you that minuscule jump I did, where like I, walked off the edge, dropped like a quarter, maybe we'll say 5 pickles, 5 pixels, and hopped to the left to get on that platform. What you don't know is that I loaded the save state like 10 times to get that precise. Because, in an ideal world, you would learn how to do that exact. But the controls are so stiff in this game as far as the jump and you having to commit to a direction that it's really difficult. So I didn't use save states until 5-2 because of this.
Jeez. I know, and I know when I played up to at least level 2, there were some spots that were already trying to teach you that. There was that one vertical thing where you kind of go
right,
back.
With the electric coils.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even before that, or maybe it was after it, there's a spot where you have to drop down off the platform you're standing on to jump a little further over more electricity. And so, like you said, it's trying to utilize everything it's already taught you. The problem is, like, you can't be pixel perfect every time.
That's really the problem with it, because this game does an amazing job at making you kind of feel like Batman. Like, the game, for one, it looks gorgeous. I think this is a gorgeous game. For as early as this release, like 1990, it's a really gorgeous Nintendo game. Like, I don't know if you were, looking too much at the gears, but like they almost look 3-dimensional because of how they animated them and they colored them, but they look like they're 3D. Like they look like those cannonballs in Mario 64 almost.
It's interesting too because the first level is not that detailed, and it's like, I don't know if they got better at the programming as the game went on. But by the second level, all of a sudden, that's when they had the electric coils and everything, and it immediately looked much more advanced, like way further than just a 1990 game.
Yeah, it's really surprising because you're right. Like that first level is a really good sort of introductory level in a way.
Yeah, it's just basic. Like here's the platforms, here's a black background.
It's really straightforward. But then once you get in there, like even those electric coils they look amazing. Like they're just these, they have like this green lightning around them, and they're these,
It's funny, it was kind of ahead of its time because Batman Forever really utilized Green Lightning with the Riddler.
It did. It did. But yeah, so this game, it just excels in making you feel like Batman. Like, even with just the wall jump alone, like, that was an awesome feature at that time. Like, Ninja Gaiden had been out, but like I said, that was a lot, even more stiff than this was as far as the wall jumping, because, you know, you lashed on the wall and it was awkward to jump off of it and up.
Yeah, because you always stuck to it no matter what.
Yeah, and this, you know, it's, once you get used to the, or, you know, once you kind of get a better idea of like the short hops and long hops when you're wall jumping, it feels really great. But it also gets really difficult when you have enemies waiting at the top of the platform and you're waiting for their animation to end.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're trying not to get damaged. Because there's no health upgrades, there's nothing else. I think you have like, it must be 8 or 10 hit points. And it doesn't last long when you get caught up in these stupid platform things. Like,
yeah.
even for you, like I saw when you were trying to hop off something, like you did your best to like, you know, judge the distance, and like it bopped Batman's head,
yeah,
damaged you there, and you fell into the corners below you, and it damaged you again.
Yeah,
you know,
I was like, I finally utilized the short and the long hops because, like you, I didn't know about that when I was younger, and it still got me. Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna short hop this. Nope,
it's difficult, and like, and that's the thing is, once I was replaying those early levels, that's why I thought the game was more fair, because it's difficult, but just the fact you have infinite continues, it just makes it that much more digestible, really, because you can just replay the same sections. But that difficulty spike in 5.2 is just obscene. Just that vertical shaft. Like, I wish you could have seen me try that, because it took me like a day to get through that stuff. I was playing that crap for a while before I memorized, you know, how to do it. There's certain points where I would just take damage, like I could afford to take one.
Yeah.
Because once you get to the top, it's not even over. So once you get to the top, you then have to fight Firebug. Mm-hmm. This is assuming you have all of your lives left. Because if you don't, and you continue, you're back at the beginning. You have to go through that shaft all over again.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, once you get the Firebug...
No, maybe not. I was going to say, isn't this the one stage where a continue sends you back to 5.1, not 5.2? But maybe I'm thinking of Ninja Gaiden.
It's Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
This one is only... The only reason I say it's fair, air quotes,
yeah, is
because you can start the section you
died at. Yeah.
But with Firebug... You know, it's not like you started his boss fight. So if you have 0 lives, you back to 5.2 you go, or whatever it is, you know? And he's pretty difficult at the beginning too, because what happens is, like, Firebug and Joker. So I'll start with Firebug. He can shoot his he has like this really giant orb that he shoots pretty damn fast, and he also has an attack where he just slashes you persistently. So those you know, he moves really fast, much faster than Batman ever could. So when I got him in a glitch. I was lucky. He was stuck on the other side of the level, and he was just throwing his fireballs at me. But I had to get the timing right, because by the time I had to watch for his hand to lift up and generate the sprite and start jumping, because by the time he threw the ball, there was no time for Batman to jump, and I was across the level, across like the playing field.
Jesus,
like, it's that slow.
Yeah.
So I was lucky that he was just there, and he would hop in, and I would, you know, battering him and get out. And then once I beat him, you fight the Joker. So one thing I'll say is that if you do die at the Joker and you have to continue, you once again start at 5.2 to go through the shaft. But thank God you don't have to beat Firebug again. So there is at least that. They're at least thinking that, like, if you die and have to get game over, don't worry about Firebug. Just get through this stupid shaft all over again, and you can fight Joker. Now, when you get the Joker, this is like obscene. So what happens with Joker is that he really only has 2, maybe 3 attacks. He has one attack that he calls lightning, which is really cool looking. Like, he puts his hand up in the air, and 3 bolts of lightning hit. They're spaced out. And then the other one is this. He has that long barrel gun,
yeah,
revolver, whatever it is. I don't know what you call it. And he raises that up and he shoots something at you, but it's not like a bullet. Of course, it's a bullet surrounded by like another barrier that hits you. But each time it hits you, it does 3 damage.
Oh,
I think you have 8 hit points.
Yeah, this is the. I will say, at least everything in the game seemingly only does 1 hit point until, like you said, that.
Yeah, until really bosses, and then Joker's the worst. So, and oddly enough, his lightning attack only takes 1 damage. It's funny. So, I tried many times to beat the Joker. It was ridiculous, and then I started watching, like, speedrunning videos and like boss fight videos and whatever, right? And like I kind of get a better idea of like how you could cheese it, and those weren't working that well either.
Oh.
So eventually I did figure out a way, like I did what I forget I can do, where I can measure myself in relation to where where I should be staying as far as like where sprites overlap or whatever. So I realized that like you can kind of stand at Joker's the tip of Joker's gun when he's have it when he has it pointed down, and he can't hit you even when he raises the gun and shoots it because the barrel's technically behind Batman.
Huh.
Now that's fine, but the lightning when he calls it can strike you right in front of him. So what I had to do was I was looking for his hand to raise up to call lightning. I would literally tap back twice to get out of range by like a pixel or two, because if you go too far back, you get hit by the second lightning bolt.
Yeah.
So once I realized I could just tap twice back, mash, punch, because that's really the only thing I could use that close to him. It took like 35 tries. I don't know how many tries I did, and I finally beat him. After like 30 years, and it was like the greatest thing I did.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday I should say. Obviously, no one else thought it was really cool, but I thought it was the most awesome shit I ever did.
No, it's great when you finally beat that game. Like I was doing that with the Disney collections. I had never beaten Tailspin, and I just used save states constantly. Like every time I would beat a boss, I would immediately save state so I could just. I wouldn't even let the game like lose a life down to game over status. As soon as I died, I'd reload the save state so I had enough lives all the way through.
Well, and that's what I eventually did, because I made this kind of a personal rule where I didn't want to choose it too much. Like I really just save state like the beginning of a level or like a section.
Yeah.
And it was fine up until 5-2.
Yeah.
I could beat 5-1. It wasn't too bad. It took me a few tries, but 5-2 with that vertical shaft and then the firebug fight and then Joker. It was like one of the most brutal NES gauntlets I think I've ever played. Like, no wonder people say it's the hardest game, because it's fine until then.
Yeah.
So, despite how much effort it took me to finish it, we have some speedrunners here.
Oh boy.
All right, so check this out. So this is a name we've seen a lot today. NDSWE.
Yeah.
Right.
That was interesting.
Here, I'm not sure who they are, but. They've done a lot of the Disney collection records.
Yeah, he likes or they like a lot of Nintendo games apparently.
Yeah. So their record for this is 9 minutes and 47 seconds.
No.
Yeah. So
it took me 9 minutes to load up through the first level.
I was gonna say, and like Grant, again, there's only like 5 levels in this game. We'll call it like 10 because there's like 1 or 2 sections. They're not terribly long, but there's 10. Whoever this person is, like, they're coasting through this game.
Yeah.
Just 9 minutes is obscene. Which means that the boss fights are probably flawless. They know exactly how to manipulate it. They know how to cheese it. And then additionally, there's a couple other categories where...
And they would have to, throughout the level, they know... Like, they don't have to maybe kill all of the enemies, but they still need the ammo for some of the stuff.
They'll need the ammo for it. And then, on top of that, like I said, those jumps demand precision, especially in the last last section. So for them to beat it in 9 minutes, like that vertical section is probably flawless. Like they probably just go through like it's just natural. You're watching a tool assisted run.
Yeah.
And then there's a pacifist run. I don't know what this entails, because I'd assume you have to beat the bosses. You have to beat the bosses because you can't not punch them or defeat them, and that is a 12-minute run.
Damn.
Which is insane. But also, I'm sure there's damage boosts. There's probably other things that are, getting through the level, because that's still pretty impressive that they're going through the whole level with 8 hit points, 10 hit points.
Yeah, I'm assuming they don't kill anything, and then they only punch the bosses.
Yeah. Well, maybe they collected ammo. Actually, no.
No, you can't.
They wouldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to punch the bosses. And then there's another category I saw where it's Fist Only by Time Leaper. That one is 10 minutes and 49 seconds, which is still pretty damn good. Like, it's about a minute away from any %, and they did it with fists.
And quicker than the pacifist, probably because they can punch through certain parts at least.
Yeah, yeah. So, that was Batman the video game. It's I guess that's really it for what I have. I don't know if you had any other memories you said. Like, I know, did you borrow this from me when we were younger? Yeah.
I borrowed it, I think, a lot. I remember playing it a lot, but then, replaying it now recently, and I'm pretty sure I never got past the second level or the second level boss.
I definitely got stuck there. That's probably where I got stuck the most when I was a kid.
And yet I still remember having so much fun with the game because I was playing Batman, and I was and it didn't matter. I was just going through the first level over and over again. I don't remember the continues being so forgiving.
Me neither.
And I don't remember being able to keep my ammo through the continues, but I still don't think I can get through it.
Yeah, it's I would definitely say it's fair to abuse save states, because until this game just, like I said, demands so much precision that it's so damn difficult to do it, without save states.
Yeah. I was trying to think what recent was it, Arkham City or Arkham Knight, where one of the bonus outfits is this costume.
Oh god, it must have been.
I think it's Arkham City.
Was it Arkham City?
Maybe.
I thought it might have been Arkham Knight.
But it's awesome that you could like then play all of a modern Batman as the Purple Knight.
Yeah, and NECA Toys, NECA, they make they're probably like one of my favorite figure toy manufacturers because everything just looks so damn good and detailed. But they did a Batman video game, NES video game figure. I don't know, I don't know how much it is now. Like I haven't been able to find it. I haven't really looked, but I have a feeling it might be one of those that's like, it's released for a limited time. It's probably stupidly expensive now.
Yeah.
But it's really cool they did that. I think I have the Terminator one, which is really cool. Like it's the T2 NES one. But the Batman one they did looks really awesome because it's like that purple, which it's funny again. Like it makes sense why they couldn't make
him black.
They couldn't have a black Batman suit because the game is so damn dark.
Yeah.
So it's actually cool that the purple Batman somehow works.
Yeah.
It fits with like the color design, the color palette they made for the game.
You would have thought like, why not try for a darker blue, because at that time that was his color in the comics.
Yeah.
And also Adam West was a blue. They could have done that still. It would have been different from the backgrounds, but the purple still worked.
Yeah, so it's god dang. Yeah, so I would say I put this at number 4 on my list, and I definitely don't second guess that. After playing again, like I definitely realized that's definitely the perfect spot for it, number 4. But I think that'll do it. I'm not sure what else we can add to this. Any final notes, Deucey? Final calls on Batman the video game?
On this one, not so much. I do know, like I said, I borrowed it a lot from you. Maybe somebody else I knew had it too, because I do remember playing it a lot. And for some reason, I always thought I got farther than I did. But I was definitely more of a Batman Returns kid, which we can probably do in another episode.
Absolutely do an episode on that.
That was an amazing Super Nintendo game. And it's funny because I remember watching Batman the movie, not in theaters or anything. It was when I was a little older. But then I never watched Batman Returns until my 20s. Like
I had no idea.
Yeah,
wow.
I was living with Mike when I finally decided to watch it, because I had the DVD collection and I was like, I've never seen this. I'm gonna finally pop it in, and I still like the original more. It's weird how people gave crap to Forever and Batman and Robin for getting really cartoony, but even Batman Returns was kind of a little more lighthearted.
It's zany.
Yeah,
it's definitely got that. It's definitely like that Tim Burton
Penguin.
Whimsical.
Penguin was definitely like disgusting, and and he was like really evil and everything. But there was some zaniness compared to the first one, where Joker was Joker, and he had that big long gun that just said bang and stuff like that. But like, and he had the big balloon with the gas and everything. But I don't know, the second one, what was it? Penguins with rockets on them, or
the penguin? Yeah, they had like a backpack rocket pack or something, and then he had like this giant, like rubber duck
vehicle
thing with wheels. And the biggest reason I remember that is because we had like this die-cast metal thing of that.
Oh wow!
That we got from like a thrift store when we were kids. Because my brother was really into Batman back then, especially Returns.
Yeah.
So I'd seen that movie a million times when I was a kid just because of him. But I'm shocked that you'd seen Batman Forever and Robin, which I'm still an apologist for.
Batman Forever was the first one I saw in theaters.
I didn't see that one in the theaters. I saw Batman and Robin in theaters, which is funny. Yeah.
Poor you.
Well, I would say whenever that came out, I think it was 97.
97?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until later I was like, oh, this is pretty shit.
Yeah. But I was gonna ask about this game. No, maybe we covered it. Like, why? Even if it was, that's what it was. Even if it was about the Killing Joke originally, why were there so many additional enemies like Firebug and Moth Guy and Deadshot randomly?
That's what I'm not sure. It's like, I don't know where they got that from.
Yeah.
Because I'm not familiar enough with Batman and, especially the lore from that time at all. Like,
I know they were definitely I wouldn't say bigger, but they were more in the comics back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They weren't in the Killing Joke.
Yeah. And it might be one of those things where, again, like it might be something where maybe someone was, they had comics as a reference and they didn't know what to necessarily do yet. So they're like, well, we could put villains or something. But
this was probably one of the first Batman games. And they were just like, let's throw it all at it.
It was one of the earliest ones for sure. Yeah, I don't know, because I know they had Batman on like Commodore and games like that, but I don't know if they were before this. I have no idea. But this is, I mean, for one of the earlier Batman games, it's pretty awesome. It still holds up. 30. I mean, God, what is this now? 34.
And like you said, compared to the other movie tie-in games at the time, like this one still stayed ahead of the pack.
As loose as this is to the movie,
yeah,
I would still say it's one of the best movie games you could play.
Yeah.
Up until the last level.
Yeah. But ironically, the last level is the most authentic to the movie.
Yeah, exactly. You fight Joker.
He actually went to a cathedral with a tower.
Yeah. And so it's ironic that like they really made it like they make you feel like Batman throughout the entire game until you're there. They make you feel like you're like a beaten up, Batman with like broken legs, broken arms. Like you're at the last. You've been through hell at this point.
Yeah.
Which
just give me some stairs. He climbed a lot of stairs in the movie. Just give me those.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for us. Thank you all for listening to our Batman the video game episode. This was a lot of fun. I don't know what we'll do next. We'll have to figure out what we want to.
The possibilities are endless.
They really are. We've been sticking a lot to the NES skins, which is still cool. But actually, no, we did Super Nintendo too. That's right. Yep. We did one. But anyway, appreciate you all for listening. Keep coming back. Do you see any final words? I like the
Just everybody remember, press start to continue listening to us.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic evening, day, morning, whatever it is over there. Thank you.